system. You are watching Otero Studios.
Welcome back to another video, guys. Now today I'm going to be showing you how to refill your Copic markers using the various ink refills. I also have my two dried up ones, E01 and E02, and then I have an injector. Other things you might want to have is a paper towel because it could get messy. One of the big things with filling these is that there's multiple ways of doing it. This is just the preferred method where you use the injector and the various ink refill cartridge. So right now we're gonna do E01. I'll put that there. I wanted to do this because I actually hurt my shoulder. I took a nasty fall the day after New Year's, so I haven't really been able to draw as much as I want to. So that's why I've been doing some of those commentary videos and now a tutorial on how to fill these up. So the first way you could fill it up is just by having the cap open and then grabbing, you always want to make sure E01 and it matches your marker, because the last thing you want is to grab the wrong marker. Just break this open. So it already has kind of a injector, so you can just dab it on there. This method's okay, but this way it can get really messy. So I like to use the injector. Now with the injector, it can still get messy, especially if the marker still has some ink in it. So you're gonna take the various ink refill and then the actual injector, and watch out, especially if you have kids or you're clumsy like me. This is a very sharp, it's sharper than those syringes they use for epidurals and stuff. So once you got that on there, you just want to dab a little just to make sure it's coming out, working just fine. And we're going to grab the marker, take the brush tip off, and then once the brush tip is off, then you're just going to put the injector near the cap and just slowly dab little bits in there, because there is a sponge in the inside that will catch some of the ink. You don't want to overfill, because what happens when you overfill is that it can leak out even with the tip in there. It's a little tedious, you know, especially if you're an artist that does conventions. You always want to do this before you go to the convention, because the last thing you want to do is sit at your table and have to do this. I think that's enough, but what's nice is that they're hollow inside, so if you point it to the light, you can actually see where it's filling up. Depending on which side you use the most, you want to fill that side. I use the brush tip. As you can tell from a lot of the videos, I use the brush tip the most, so definitely want to. And just turn it little by little, just to make sure that everything catches. You might have some that in the reservoir will go down to your chisel tip. That's always great. Luckily with this one, I didn't make too much of a mess. So now you're going to take the injector off, and now we're going to do the other marker. It says you get 5 refills out of it, but in actuality, if you use it sparingly, you can probably refill it 7 or 8 times. With the price of the markers, this is definitely the way to go, because you don't want to keep buying $8 markers. I got these at the Art Stop LLC, where I also teach. So if you're in the Rochester area, they are located in Penfield, New York. There's a link in the description, so you can click on that. And yeah, if they don't have it in the store, chances are they can order it for you. So like I said, be very careful with that. That is a very sharp needle. And This one has been a trusted marker. I think it's one of the first ones I ever bought. Because originally I was a black and white artist, and then I started getting into color. Oh no, I broke the brush. Okay. So when that happens, especially if you're clumsy like me, what we're going to try to do is just fill from the other end and hope that it catches. Yeah, it's really dried up. So take the injector, again, take your time with it. You don't want to get to the very top because that's what will cause overflow and leakage. And what I mean by leakage is not just leaking out of the marker, but when you go to color with it, it will spill onto the paper, and if you're using porous paper, it will leak right through. I tend to use Bristol and watercolor paper, which is thicker, so I really don't have that problem. Also, the Copic Marker books are really good with holding in the ink, so you don't have a lot of bleed through. So once this is almost full, just a little bit more there. And I broke my own rule because I didn't double check the markers, but you know, just for the sake of the video. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I will respond as quickly as I can. Another good way to clean these injectors is to use isopropyl alcohol, which, you know, keeps it from that might be a problem. Alright, so you see it's already super saturated. Just don't want it to leak. And I'm gonna check the other side to see if it came through. Oh yeah, woo! That is wet. Alright, so just for safety reasons, I can't clean it right now because the isopropyl alcohol is upstairs. So I'm just gonna close it for now. I just have to make sure I remember to clean it. Put it back in the case. So spin it around a little bit. So these normally go for $8.99. You can find them at different places, different prices. If you live in Japan, you can get a way cheaper. They're more expensive here in the States, so $8.99, but it refills your markers. Like for me personally, I can fill mine up at least 8 times. So you think about it as far as cost of the markers, you know, 8 times 8, you know, 8 markers. So I hope that video helped out anybody who's currently has Copics or is thinking about getting Copics. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I will get back to them as soon as I can. If you have some time, check out my Patreon. I'm going to have some new reward levels pretty soon. And don't forget, keep it over 9,000.